Hello, my name is Chris Hilton from CG Hilton Inc. in Calgary, Alberta, and I'm going to talk to you today about a very serious problem that many people ask me about. I've had the pleasure of working with First Nations groups for 20-30 years, and one of their main problems revolves around suicide. So I always like to tell the story of Samson Management. They had the exact same problem 30-40 years ago up in Samson, Alberta, now called Maquasis. Chief and council went to their administration and they said, this suicide is unacceptable. What can we do? The administration counseled with elders, and the elders and administration came up with a plan. In July, the youth were introduced to culture, language, spirituality, crafts, all kinds of traditions that they had lost. In August, the elders took the youth and they lived in the bush. This program was extremely successful. The suicide rate dropped to almost nothing. It was so successful, it was recognized internationally. The Governor General of the United Nations came and awarded all the participants, the developers of the program, medals for their efforts. I'd like just to reflect a little bit why suicide levels are so high. Imagine for yourself going into the mind of a youth that has had a troubled past. Imagine they're examining their options for life. They've had maybe poor role models. They've maybe had a parent who was addicted. They've maybe been income starved. Maybe no one paid any attention to them. So in those particular circumstances, they had no choice but to create a family of their own. It just so happens this family was a gang. So the way to counter that type of mindset is to provide options. You cannot just go to a youth and say, hey, you have a drug addiction problem, you've got to stop it. You have to provide options. So the program that I just mentioned did exactly that. Provided options, provided support from elders, basically gave these youth a big hug from their community. And as everyone knows, it does take a village to raise a child. First Nations communities are absolutely no different. So if you're struggling with these issues today, it won't be an overnight solution, but you have everything to gain by listening to elders. And there's a fantastic one down in Begunny with the name of Morris Littlewolf. He is to be saluted for his efforts to try to bridge the gaps, to create programs, to bring the children and the youth of their community so they have a glorious future. I'd also like to give a shout out to Dr. Tyler White from the Siksika Nation. He has spent his entire career creating options in sports, in health and wellness to engage youth at a different level. And this has paid huge dividends. It's a very difficult problem. It's not solved overnight. By using some of these methods and by introducing perhaps sports, equine programs, they can all go a long way to give youth options, give them a sense of well-being, and bring your suicide right down to negligible levels. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.